a degree of frustration about how hard you have to fight to find room to write and to cover local sport. Another issue that perhaps could be relatively simply addressed. Malaysia needs more access on sport. Well, that's interesting given what I've just said. The reality is there's lots of sport that goes on. But again, said by a couple of people in particular, perhaps there's more that can be done to take sport closer to the heart of national ambition and for the media to help to support that. And that ties in quite nicely with Sport Industry Year and some of the ambitions of the government to achieve that. But one thing is clear, to create a sport industry in the country, it's a lot easier to do that if you've actually got successful athletes at a lot of different levels that the local media can write about, local heroes that can be created. Nothing in sport succeeds like success. That's never been truer. So, just one other thing, my main finding from this morning. You know what? Journalists are not lazy. Because I've never been in a situation where I've seen two people coming closer to having a punch-up in public. And it was quite something. The gentleman from the Olympic Association there was remarkably frank in his view. And I think there's perhaps something in this, that there needs to be a degree of sharing of knowledge and expectations and experience with those, although the gentleman was previously a journalist, it was some time ago. And I think all of us, in our role in our daily life, have to kind of keep up to date with the way things are changing. And what I'd like to do is suggest something, and I would like all of you who are interested in this to maybe make a note of my email address, and I'll give it to you now and I'll give it to you later. It's just kevinr@sportbusiness.com. That's kevinr@sportbusiness.com. What I would like to suggest, and I discussed this with my colleagues and with Roddy, is that you consider whether there would be value in starting to think about, we can't promise to deliver this, we can't talk about when it might be, but we can start by email a discussion about formulating, as a result, as a direct result of our meeting here today, start formulating a forum which brings together not just representatives of the press, but representatives of Malaysia's governing bodies, that brings together those people, together with some of the athletes, with the talent that everybody writes about. I'd like you to email to tell me how you would feel about that idea, what you would like to see on the agenda, and how we might formulate a discussion that gets us to cut across some of the issues that we've discussed today. Because one of the things that is very clear about today is that wherever, almost inevitably, wherever there has been a problem identified, to whether it's a small problem or a major problem, one of the key factors is lack of communication. As ever, it's like that with most problems in life. It's lack of communication. It's one side not quite understanding the ambitions, the dreams, and the practical difficulties that others are facing. I'd like to think that if we were to spend a day, 4 or 5 sessions, bringing all these parties together to discuss particular things, it'd be possible to make some real, practical, and sustainable progress that would actually improve not only the role, but the appreciation and the respect for the sports media sector in Malaysia. As I say, I don't expect to start a debate or a discussion about this now, except for a quick show of hands. Who in the room now would be happy to come along and attend and participate in an event like that if it were to be held? Yeah? Anybody over there? Okay, interesting. Interesting. But please, because it's entirely private, please use my email address and let me know whether you think it's a decent idea or whether you think it's a rubbish idea. let me know and tell me why. I look forward to hearing from as many of you as possible. So, that's it for our little gathering this afternoon. As I said, it's Friday afternoon. It's 25 to 4, so we're finishing just a little bit earlier. I know there weren't many of us today, but I hope that those of you who were here, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I hope that you've taken something away with you from our discussions. And as I say, I do look forward to hearing from you by email. Thanks again, and have a great weekend. If anybody's going over to the golf, we may well see you there a little later on, but for now... Oh no, I'm just going to hand you over. So. Oh, can we have a group photo? No? Okay. Do we have a group photo photographer? We do. Perhaps you'd like to join us to have a photograph taken just to mark the occasion.